What's going on, everybody? Man, I really need a theme song or an intro or something. Anyway, it's been a long day. Got my Cuban coffee, my Cafecito, little jet fuel, hydration. Please hit the like button. So, been a pretty newsworthy day already. As I see my guest coming into the waiting room, I'll let him in just a second. Let's see. Looks like Fletcher chose. His poo. Yeah, hopefully my guest will assist me with that and, bring some positive vibes to the show, some hopefully more good news coming. Yes, Mark Fletcher, who I don't think we're totally shocked by his choice because all those crystal ball predictions said Ohio State. So we'll get into that now. Supreme, what's going on? And as I do that, please, as I let in my guest, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We're going to talk some recruiting tonight, some transfer portal, and all the news surrounding the program. Because as I said, it was a busy day. So let my guest in right now. There he is. What's going on, brother?
I'm good, bro. How are you?
Pretty good, man. I was hoping Fletcher would pull an Avante and surprise everybody, but that didn't happen.
Yeah, I told somebody earlier today, maybe it's just a well-kept secret. Fingers crossed, everything crossed and all that, but, no surprise, really. We kind of saw the writing on the wall, but, it's called recruiting, and it's April, so let's just, chill out a little bit. No need to completely jump off the ledge other than my Sebastian Lane co-host. I'm sure he's probably walking around in misery right now, heartbroken, but it's all good, man. It is what it is.
Yeah, I'm a huge Mark Fletcher fan, so he was one of my favorite backs in this class, and I know you guys had him on a few weeks ago. Real quick, tell the people what kind of player Ohio State's getting right now, and also, do you think it's pretty much a lock? Miami's still in it, maybe because it's pretty early. What are you thinking?
Yeah, as far as Miami's still in it, I think they are just because it is early. It is April, but I think they've kind of identified what they want, and don't everybody freak out on me and say, how would you not want Fletcher? I'm not saying that. I just think they've identified the type of player and things that they're looking for, and had those conversations, and hopefully they got a plan, bro. I'm not going to lie. I'm hoping they got a plan. Fletcher was easily in my top two running backs that I wanted, along with Cedric Baxter. So hopefully there's a plan there. You get me him, and we'll kind of forget a few things. But again, it's early. What kind of player are they getting? Phenomenal, man. Absolute blue chip. Everything you would really want, you would think. Always gets the comparison to Derrick Henry. And that's going to come with his size and things like that. But he's, again, I'm not saying he's better than Derrick Henry, but he's more than a lot of people just think he's a, full steam ahead, run over you kind of guy. But when you watch him play, when he gets through that line and gets to that second level, he can make some moves, and he may not break away from you down the field, but once you catch up to him, he's going to drag you another 10 or 15 yards. So it sort of evens out, but absolute workhorse, and he's going to fit well there, that Big Ten and all that, he's going to do well over there, of course. And we'll see what goes on, man. A lot of time left, but we'll see what happens with the dudes we've identified and guys we want and things like that, and how that all plays out, and see what happens down the road. But if nothing else, best wishes to him, and just remember that portal is always there and we're always here. So, but we'll see. But no, best wishes to him. But it's a good pickup for them, man.
Yeah, no, well said, because we root for every kid that comes from down here, from South Florida. Yeah. So best of luck to him. Yeah, I think they're getting a special player. May not have breakaway speed, but has literally everything else. Every other tool, every other box he checks off. Yeah. So sucks not to get him. But there's a few other studs in this class, one of them being the gentleman Fernando's talking about, Cedric Baxter. Is he the guy that pretty much that Miami's shifting their focus to as their main target?
Yeah, all that I know and all that I've heard and all that I've been told, unless something has changed today, is that's kind of the focus, and has been kind of the focus. I think they identified him a little while back, and that's kind of the direction they want to go. And I think if you can maybe now kind of the idea is to maybe land him, and then maybe you add another complimentary back that makes it a nice class. You got guys like Dalen Smothers, who I love out of North Carolina, and there's a few guys floating around. And then there's going to be other guys come along. Again, I know I've said this about 18 times already. I've been on like 3 minutes, but it's April. So there's going to be other names that are going to come down the pipeline that we're going to go, wait a minute, who is that guy? And so it's guys that are, conversation have been had, coaching staff, running back coach, new OC coming from other programs, guys they were recruiting there, guys they're still in contact with, they're going to kind of come through. So, but I think Cedric Baxter is numero uno for sure, especially now with not just Mark Fletcher, but with Richard Young, all that mess. So I think those are kind of the top three names you kind of heard. And now process of elimination, you're down to one, so to speak. So, but yeah, you land him in a nice complimentary back. It's still a shot for a really nice class there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, U-Town says, I don't know if it doesn't matter, but he is saying that we do have Trevante Citizen on the squad already. And that dude, it's going to be tough for him to relinquish that job. Like he's that good.
Yeah,
so,
he is. And that's a fantastic point, because we focus a lot on what we're not getting and you forget what we've got, and with him, don't forget Mr. Parrish. He's not coming here to take a backseat to anybody as well. And plus, you're hearing some good things about some guys that we've got, already. Thad Franklin has stepped up and done some things, and you're hearing some really nice things. So, kind of focus now sort of on what we have, going into the spring game and things like that, and everything will sort of fall into place.
Yeah. So let's switch gears to some better news. We got to commit in the last day or two from Frankie Tinilau, offensive lineman out of Australia, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's going to be attending LaSalle High School down here for his senior season. So, he is living down in South Florida now. But he was, I think, rated like one of the top players, I want to say in the Europe under 19 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
For those of us who, maybe aren't too aware of him, because he doesn't have a star rating on 247, but that doesn't mean he's a no-star recruit. It was just very hard to follow, his career. So from what give us a little bit about Frankie Tinilau.
Yeah, it's another guy. We had him on the show a few weeks back. Well-spoken guy, intelligent guy. You can just get that vibe when you talk to him. One thing you can't teach is size, and he definitely has that, 6'6" range there, 330-ish, somewhere in there. I don't know. And athletic, moves well, and wanted to be at Miami. And I think that's big to me. And a lot of folks, talk about that a lot, and then we don't put enough emphasis on that. He wanted to be here. And once he got on campus and his mom got around the staff and the city and the culture and all that, it's kind of a no-brainer for him. He sort of, kind of shut things down right then and knew that was the spot that he wanted to be. And, why wait? Just go ahead and do it.
Mm-hmm.
Talked to him just very, very briefly yesterday, excited about it. And he's position of need. We want to fix those trenches. And you're getting guys. That's one thing that you got to understand with all these commitments we're getting, and some that we're not, or we're kind of losing out. One thing Mario and the staff is doing, they're identifying what they want, and they're going after that. And they're being very upfront with these dudes when they tell them. And you're seeing in some other programs, these big time recruiting classes, not to get off key here into the NIL situation, but you tell all these young men, hey, this and that, and now their time's here and it's not panning out, and they're going to, check out and hit the portal, and we kind of don't want that. So they know what they want. They know what they can coach up, skill sets, are you coachable, all that jazz. You fit here. And Frankie Tinilau is a huge get, not just physically, but he's just a very solid player. And like you said, it's hard to follow him, so he didn't have the big ratings. But he's definitely a high caliber dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if Mario and Coach Mirabal wanted him that bad, the dude must be physical. I mean, there's one thing is being big. We've seen linemen that are 6'4", 6'5", even bigger than that, 300 plus pounds, but they don't have the physicality to go with it.
Yeah.
If they wanted this dude, that means he's a hit you in the mouth, knock you on your ass kind of lineman, which we've really needed.
Yeah, if it's offensive line of all things, and Mario and Coach Mirabal want him, who am I to say, wait a minute, he doesn't really have a big high ranking? No, I'm telling you, if it's offensive line, that's a priority here with this staff. And if they want that guy, then, who am I to question that? So.
Exactly. Speaking of O-line, Les had a question, and I knew we were going to get to him. Sorry, I'm late. What are the odds that the U gets Amarius Mims? So Amarius Mims is a former, not just 5-star recruit. I think he was a number 1 or number 2 tackle in the country coming out of the 2020 class. He became available just in the last week or so, last few days. Miami's been after him, and so have a lot of other schools. What are you hearing? What do you think the chances are that we land this dude? Because this I think will be the first portal guy that if we get him, that's a game changer. Like, he is a difference maker. He changes the offensive line, in my opinion.
Yeah, totally agree. Hearing lots and lots of good things. And one thing about recruiting is all about relationships. And Mario and Mirabal have had these relationships in the past at Oregon with these guys. And this is a good example of that. There's a relationship there already, and not just with him, but a really good relationship with the family. And that was there in the past. He chose Georgia. I mean, you can't fault a guy for wanting to go to Georgia and compete for natties, right off the bat and that sort of thing. And that's what he chose to do. And for whatever reason, it has not worked out. I don't think it's for any of the wrong reasons. I don't, anything like that. He just wants to move on and move elsewhere. And from what I've been told and what I've read and talked up and all that, is Miami is in a really nice spot for him. I think right now you're in as good a spot for him as you could possibly be. Now you just kind of got to work. Let's get him on campus and things like that and see what happens. But as of right now, man, it sounds really, really good. And I agree with you. That right there would be that's like a game changer. I mean, you put him on that O-line, it just fixes things right there.
Yeah, I would go as far as saying it takes us from pretty confident we'll win 9 games, win the Coastal, to pretty confident we'll win 10 and probably win the ACC. Like, it's that big of a need, and it's that big of a get at a very, very big position to need.
Yeah, and there's another guy over there as well. The last name is Webb, Clay Webb,
Yeah.
another offensive lineman. He's going to hit the portal, and I've also heard that I don't know all the interest there. I don't know a whole lot of the backstory with him as much as with Mims, but there has been contact made from what's being said. So we'll see what happens there. And of course, we've already got 2 O-linemen, recruits, and then a couple transfers. So, that O-line room is getting packed right now. So that's good.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me to see someone maybe leave in the next few days. And we start to see that today.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this one kind of hurt because I'm kind of a fan of this kid and I want to see what he can do. But Tyreek Austin Cave, of course, hit the portal today. We were all excited that he bulked up to like 230 something pounds, and we're like, there's your MLB 1 right there. There's your Mike.
Right.
But then, he hits the portal. Best of luck to Tyreek, of course. So, wherever he goes, I'm sure he's going to ball out.
Yeah.
But he probably saw, I don't know if it's one of 2 things. Either he saw the writing on the wall and he's like, I'm out. I'm going to seek greener pastures elsewhere. Or I don't know. Maybe he, I'm not sure exactly what happened. Maybe he saw like Mario is planning on going to get more guys, or maybe the guys in the room are outplaying him. I don't know. What do you think ultimately happened there that led to his decision?
I tell you what, man, from a few things that have been said, and I mean, I'm not there, so I don't know for sure, but Charlie Strong apparently got really frustrated, I guess, is a better word, but with that group, with that room, with that linebacker room, and voiced his frustrations pretty loudly. So I think it was probably kind of what you're saying, maybe seeing the writing on the wall. Things have changed now, and it's tough, man. When you've had a guy, this is not always the case. When you've had a guy that's been in the program for a couple of years or a few years or whatever, and it's still not kind of clicking, you kind of got to say, was it going to happen? And now you've got this new staff where it's that's just not going to be good enough. You've got to perform on this level, and if you're not, we're going to go look elsewhere. And I think that's going to be a group you're going to see transfer portal attacked pretty aggressively over the next few weeks.
Yeah, Hopefully some bigger names hit, I think they will. Some bigger names hit that portal in the linebacker room.
Yeah.
One in particular that, Flo went ahead and mentioned his name on Sunday, but, yeah, we're looking at one in particular. And even if he doesn't, you got Caleb Johnson, who Miami's hard after. I don't know if you would agree, but I don't think he's a game changer, but he's a guy that could start. He brings some valuable experience. I would think they're going to add him and maybe one more.
Yeah.
Do you think the number's 2, or do you think they might add even more than that?
They could possibly add more than that, because I think because what you said is a good point. I don't know, like say that's where we go. Maybe not a game changer, but you need some guys in there. If it's not going to be that one dude, it's a game changer. You need several that could come in and play these reps. And I think the big plan, if you can get some guys to come in and rotate heavy and get some heavy playing time and kind of let Wesley Besant develop, you know what I mean? You're hearing really good things about him. He's obviously the future. Everybody knows this. But you want to be easy with him. And I know Coach Steele had said that, they're going easy with the playbook with him. He was a little bit overwhelmed in the beginning, but he's starting to settle in, and they're trying to bring him along the right way and let him kind of develop and kind of, ease into this thing. So if you could get 2 or 3 really solid dudes that could come in and help with that, I think that's what you need right now. I don't think you necessarily have to have that game changer. It's great if you do. But let's get a couple guys and allow him to develop and be the dude of the future that he's going to be.
I still believe Chase Smith is going to be that stud linebacker. It's just maybe he needs a year.
Yeah.
Who knows?
That's one of those guys I'll just keep waiting on, man. I'm like, come on. I want to see that so bad. It's there.
I know.
It's there. I just want to see it come out. So I'm excited about him.
I know when he gets, a little healthier. I think he was nicked up. He didn't play much in the spring. So once he gets back into the fold, and then you got Keontre, who's solid, a little undersized, but he's going to play hard. He's a good tackler.
Yeah.
So, you got something to work with, but they got to add a couple for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. You need to add some size, and you know what I'm saying? Some bulk to that. You know what I'm saying? We're just small right there. Positive. You said earlier about positivity. So let's be positive. If it doesn't happen, Kevin Steele's a master at, making adjustments and coaching to what he has. So, but I would like to see somebody with some bulk and some size be able to step in there. You know what I'm saying? And Wesley's going to get there. It's going to happen. But I would love to see a guy come in with some experience and some size that can step into that role and help out.
Yeah. Real quick, they mentioned the wide receiver that hit the portal today. This dude from Louisville. I had his name here. Damn, I can't place it. Tyler Harrell, is that his name? I think that's the receiver from Louisville. He just hit the portal.
I think so. I just got in right before I hopped on, and I checked like 3 or 4 things, and I saw a guy from Louisville. Honestly, I don't know a whole lot about him right now.
Yeah, I'll have to do some research. Apparently, he went to Columbus High School, class of 2018. Put up some good yards. Apparently, he's got some speed. So I'm sure, yes, Harrell. Yeah, Tyler Harrell.
Okay. Gotcha.
I'm sure that the Degenerate squad has, his life story already. They already know everything about him. So
yeah,
they're quick with the info, quicker than we are.
I guarantee it. Guaranteed.
Guys, what position do you think portal do you think Mario's looking to get? Like we said, same positions. Right now, we've added to the O-line room. Say we get Mims. I think we're pretty solid at the O-line. I think we're looking to get maybe 1 D-line, 2 linebackers, maybe a DB, because we're not super deep at safety. I mean, we have some studs there, but we're not super deep. I think those are the 3 positions right now. I thought before we needed a kicker. Like, I didn't say it because everybody loves Andy. I love Andy, but I think he needed a backup, some competition. Then did we get the kid from USC, or he's still like looking at us?
He's still looking. Yeah,
he's still looking. Okay,
yeah, he's still looking. But he actually, I think he got penalized for targeting last year. So he's apparently
oh yeah, that's right. That was him.
Yeah. So he's got a latitude too. So yeah, let's go get that. And I agree there. Yeah, we need linebackers, and linebackers, O-line are the 2 obvious, but I agree with you as far as like safeties. And it's a couple of our positions were really good with what we put on the field initially. It's just that depth and having guys to rotate. If we're going to compete like we want to get some big time teams, coming up this year, we need some really solid dudes that can come in and give some reps and let some guys rest a little bit. So,
Yeah. All right, good. So switching gears a little bit, there's been a lot of studs visiting, I'm talking high school recruits now. A lot of guys have been visiting every week. You hear like 5-star after 5-star after 5-stars visiting campus.
yeah.
All seems to be going well from what I'm hearing. I mean, are you hearing anything specific about these visits? Are they going well, or is it just pretty much like, they're saying the same old stuff that you would typically hear?
Yeah, I tell you, man, it is it's just about in a very good way become overwhelming trying to keep up with all this, because I've never seen just a wave of guys. It's every day. Like, you get up and you kind of check to see what's going on, and if in the in Flo's paid chat, if anybody's interested in hopping that, if you're not already, uh, my dude Rasta's got a visit list. I mean, it just keeps going for the spring game
Mm-hmm.
coming up. And a lot of folks, there were some lists floating around, had a few names. Now there's a lot of guys coming on. So you hear a lot of stuff. You very rarely hear anything bad from a visit. The kids say the right things, but there's a lot of big name dudes that are really starting to take interest in it. It's a matter of just getting them on campus. They see it from afar, but once they get here, that whole thing changes. And so there's just not so many big names, and it's a lot of guys coming in. Like I talked about earlier, you kind of go, wait a minute, who is that? So you kind of got to dig in a little bit, and they've not even been on the board, so to speak, the entire time. So they are definitely, and it's not just 23. I mean, heaven forbid we start talking about 24. I mean, they're putting out 24 offers left and right. So yeah, a lot of 4 and 5-star guys coming through for sure.
Yeah. Do you, speaking of, guys you've had to dig a little bit, is there a guy you've dug into and done some research on recently that we may not kind of maybe be flying under the radar a little bit that we should know about, off the top of your head?
There's a guy that announces tomorrow, but I don't think it's going to go our way. Tight end Reed McKeska. He's absolutely a phenomenal athlete. He announces sometime tomorrow. But he decided to announce tomorrow. He just came off fresh off a Clemson visit. So we had him on the show just a little while back. There's another tight end, not really under the radar. He's top of the board, Riley Williams, which I absolutely love. It's going to be hard to get him out of Oregon, family ties and things like that there. So a couple names. I mean, you kind of pull these lists up, and it just goes on and on and on. Chase Basantes, I think is how you say it, an offensive lineman that I'm really big on. He just released a top group not too long ago. So kind of in it for him a little bit. So, yeah, several of those guys.
Yeah. I just saw UTown saying read that our transfer portal ranking is 23rd. Yeah, just keep in mind, like, the guys that we've been getting so far have been more depth guys, more 2-deep guys, which – I keep reminding everybody that is important, because the starting 22, they don't play every snap. You guys got to remember, they rotate in and out. The more you can rotate and there's less of a drop off, the better, because you keep those guys fresh for that stretch run at the end of the season. Those last 3-4 games that we always seem to trip up. The Coastal's right there for the taking, and we always seem to collapse at the very end. I think a big reason for that is lack of depth over the years.
Yeah. I would be interested to see that ranking based not just off of like, were they a 4 and 5-star back in the day and stuff like that, but based on position, what a program actually needs. You know what I'm saying? I mean, as far as going after identifying those needs, and we've already said it. We've got some pretty solid guys on the front in a lot of positions. We just need that depth and some rotation guys, and a few of those guys could turn into something bigger down the road. So I think we've done a fine job. I'm happy so far at the portal.
I agree. I mean, almost every single guy has been like perfect fit. Like, yes, we needed a guy to back up this dude. Oh, we needed a guy to challenge here for a starting spot. Yeah, they've all been, and South Florida connections. They've all been solid pickups, in my opinion. None of them have been bad.
Yep.
So, switching gears a little bit to Green Tree now. I've been wanting to talk to somebody about this. I didn't have a guest on last week, but it was last week, I believe, that we all heard that Mario stopped practice because it was a little lackadaisical. Guys were kind of jogging around, not running hard, not finishing drills hard, and dude just straight up stopped practice. And not in so many words, basically said, this isn't good enough. I don't know about you, but I'm sure you guys have talked about this on your show, but I really enjoyed hearing that. And that's the first time, I think Vince Wilfork, it was his first time on campus in years. And he said, man, I haven't seen a vibe like this in a long time around the program. And that was the first time I heard of like accountability. Like, when was the last time you heard that on the practice field?
Yeah, you haven't. And it's always, the last few years, it's gone the other way where it wasn't stopped. You didn't hear anything until it literally came to blows on the field or a foul on the field or something like that. Right. Rather than the head coach just literally stop the entire practice and say, hold up, this isn't going to work. And that's kind of similar to what Charlie Strong did with the linebacking group. This is not going to work. It's just not going to do it. And you're going to address that accountability. And I don't care who you are, how long you've been here, you're going to do it this way. This is kind of the new thing. And you're hearing what you heard from Vince from several former players once they get back on campus now. They're saying it's got that old school vibe, when they were there, the accountability and things like that, the competition. And so when you hear it from one person, sometimes okay, but when you hear it from multiple people, there's a little something to it. So,
yeah, no, it's gotten to the point that I think Chris Fowler and Desmond Howard were at practice.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that kind of threw me for a loop. I had to look again. I was kind of scrolling through some stuff, and I saw Chris Fowler, and I'm like, wait, he was in Miami? So I went back, and he said, yeah, and he even said there's a few things to fix. They got a few things, but they're looking really, really good for what they've got. So that was kind of interesting to me.
Yeah, he said the perfect thing. He said, yeah, there's some holes they got to fill, which, aside from the top 3 programs in the country, who doesn't have a few holes they have to fill? But he says there's some pieces to build around. Obviously, Tyler Van Dyke, James Williams, you have pieces to build around. But speaking of, not to go off on too big of a tangent, but, I've heard some notable like FSU, Twitter guy. I don't know I think they're writers for 247 or something like that, or they have a podcast or something kind of saying that TV is overrated, that the 6 games are misleading. And I'm like, I retweeted it earlier. I'm like, what? What were you watching? Like, those 6 games where he put up those insane numbers were as flawless a half season stretch as I've seen. I've been watching this game a long time. I'm no film expert like Wholesome One or guys like that, but I think I know what I'm watching.
when other programs, especially FSU, start saying things like that, it's like, bro, like, you've literally just ran out of things to say. Like, don't tweet nothing. Just leave it alone, because you're just fishing in the dark now. And that's cool. Okay. You know what? You're right. It was a fluke. We'll see you, in a few months, and you can prove it. No worries then on your side. But yeah, when they do things like that, it's like you've literally just ran out of things to say. I don't even know how you come up with that.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see, John and Dave, do you think Mario's intensity or urgency is matched by the rest of the staff? I mean, you just talked about Coach Strong. I think it is.
Yeah, I think that's one of the cool things is, Mario has his moments, and he stops practice or does what he's going to do, and he kind of gets on some guys. Then they go to their position group, and it's the same thing. There's no let up there. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of gone down. And this is why you have to look back on that whole the hiring process, when folks are going, why is it taking so long? This is what you get when you take your time. You identify what you want, and if you don't get that, you go for the next guy, and you just take your time. You don't just fill those spots. And the entire staff, from what I've been told and from a little bit I've been able to see, is it just trickles all the way down, and it goes from the very beginning of the day in the locker room, on the practice field, afterwards, all of that. And the cool thing about it is the players like it. Newsflash, they like to be coached, and it's fun. So yeah, I think it definitely goes all the way down.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I do not get to go to the Canes practices yet. Maybe one day I will. But I know some of us YouTubers, we get to visit every now and then. And I'm hearing the same thing, that intensity has picked up tenfold.
Yeah.
And so because of that, of course, as the title of my video, the portal giveth, the portal taketh away. So we're going to lose some guys, and that's fine. Look what Mel Tucker did. I think what was the turnover? He lost like 30 guys, replaced like 28.
Yeah, and the very cool thing about there, to piggyback off of that point, we went and got his portal guy at Michigan State, right?
Yes, we did.
So, I mean, every little point you bring up, there's just another bright side to it. Every corner you turn with Mario. And so, yeah, Mel Tucker, that like they replaced like a whole side of the locker room. And the guy that had a big part to do with that is now on our staff. So,
yeah. So let's see. Love it. Yeah, tell them to keep those receipts. Absolutely. November 5th, I think, is the FSU game. We'll see them at Hard Rock. Are both y'all going to the spring game? I unfortunately am not going to the spring game. Are you going to? Well, you're in Tennessee.
Yeah,
so
but I am. But I'd actually planned to go. I had it lined up, and I've had something come up here, and I'm not going to be able to leave, so I'm not going to make it. But I was actually going to come down, and even crazier. Not to get a whole crazy story, but the guy was going to come with me. Had some things come up. He couldn't fly, so we were going to drive down, bro. Like we was going to drive like 14, 16 hours down just to make a thing of it. So, but anyway, it fell apart. I'm not going to be able to make it, but hopefully get down during the season though.
Yeah. Save it for a home game.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was like, okay, bro, it's spring game, whatever. But we were just used to this new staff like everybody is, and kind of wanted to see, a little something, but we'll make it up.
Yeah. No, and it's going to be sold out from what I heard. So
yeah, I saw that today. I saw Coach Joe actually tweeted something out, said sold out. Yeah, that's good stuff, man. Show that support.
Yes. Jeffrey O'Neill, thank you so much for the super sticker donation. Appreciate it. Let's see. The Mountains will not allow David to leave.
Hey, I'm bringing my people with me. I'm going to bring them with me, man.
Yeah. Let's see. Is it true FSU lost 20 to the portal and only 2 were picked up? 1 was a kicker. I don't know if that's accurate. I know they lost quite a bit of guys. There's some turnover there. They've done a decent job picking up portal guys. It's just high school recruiting is where they've lacked.
I don't know if it's true, but I think it's hilarious. So let's just run with it.
Yeah, we just gotta. We're not going to have another 4th and 14 moment. I mean, thank God, 4th and 14 led to the greatest thing to ever happen to this program. So thank you guys for that.
Yeah. Those were some dark days right there, but it paid off.
They were, but even when it happened, I remember I went to sleep that night. I was like, man, because I remember we were thinking, okay, if Manny wins out, if he wins if he takes us to Charlotte, maybe he sticks around and maybe we'd be okay with it. But that loss happened the way it did. I went to sleep that night. I'm thinking, okay, someone's getting fired by Monday. Something's happening. And of course, Blake James gets fired and it was like, oh, it's finally happening.
And I'm having flashbacks now because when that whole thing was going on, you'd wake up like on a Sunday or Monday and kind of one eye look at your phone to see if it had happened yet. And you're like, damn.
Yeah. We all had a feeling like something's going down.
Consume me. That's all I just wanted to check every day. When I finally saw that first domino fall, so to speak, it was like, okay, it's finally happening. But we've been through so much in the last 15 to 20 years of the same old mediocrity over and over and over. It was just hard to believe that it was actually going to stop. And when it did, man, it was a good day for sure.
Yeah, no, it was. But to my original point, we're not going to have another 4. It's not going to come down to 4th and 14. Hopefully we're up by 20, 30 points at the end of the game because Mario ain't going into that game to play it close. He wants to kick FSU's ass.
That game of all games, I guarantee you, has been circled since the day he walked in. That game,
absolutely,
I promise you, has been circled. I bet the staff and the players are already sick to death of hearing about that from him in particular. That one game.
I'm sure the players are sick to death about hearing 4th and 14. They want some revenge.
And they should. Yeah, and they should be.
So there's that game, and then obviously the Texas A&M game being that big non-conference early season game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you did you happen to see any of the Texas A&M spring game?
No, I did not.
I didn't either. I mean, I don't take too much away from spring games, honestly, because they're all, they call 5 plays the entire game. It's like you don't get a whole lot from it.
Yeah.
But I saw tweets floating around that no one's too impressed with the quarterback situation over there. but we're going to face a talented team with all those 5 stars. So I know it's super early to like give your thoughts or give a prediction on that, but I've always thought of the 2 games, Clemson and Texas A&M, the 2 big, high profile games, so to speak.
Yeah.
I think we split the 2. Honestly, that's my realistic prediction. I think the one we win is Texas A&M because they're not going to have any film on us. I don't know. How are you feeling about that game?
Man, I'm gonna tell you, if we win that Texas A&M game like that early into the year with all this excitement, this place is going to go absolutely bonkers. Like that's going to be, whoo, man! You talk about a fun weekend right there, bro. Like that would be amazing. But I agree. I don't know exactly which or the other. I think we probably kind of split. I don't know. It's just going into Texas A&M and then going into the latter part of the year, I'm a little concerned about with just our depth, like we've been talking about. Like I think we've got enough to kind of compete and put on a really good showing. And I'm not saying we won't win. It's just going to be tough to keep reloading to keep up with some teams. And then as we get into the latter part of the year with some injuries and guys getting tired and things like that, some young dudes having to play more, I think it could get tough as we go. So, if we can keep addressing these needs with transfers and things like that, it could really change a lot. But that Texas A&M, man, if we can get that early on, that's just going to be like, you talk about a confidence boost. Like, man, this place will go crazy.
Mm-hmm. You remember in 2013 when we beat Florida, second
Yeah.
game of the year, and then we
Yeah.
ripped off like 5 or 6 in a row after that. I think we can go on that kind of a run.
Yeah, because that Texas A&M game comes after, that's the 4th game of the year, I think. So we've got like 3. Is that right? Is that the 4th game of the year?
We play Bethune, then I think Southern Miss.
Okay.
Hold on, I can bring it up.
I was thinking we had like 3 kind of easy games and then hit Texas A&M.
Yeah. We have Bethune, Southern Miss, then Texas A&M. Then we have like Middle Tennessee State.
Okay.
And then I think after that we have North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken.
And don't we have a bye week right there? Is our bye week early this year? Like 4th or 5th week? About our 4th week?
I always have the schedule up. 2022 schedule.
What's funny, I had it as my screensaver on my phone. I changed it last night. Literally, now here I am needing it.
So. Let's see. A&M, Middle Tennessee. Yeah, Middle Tennessee State is on the 24th and North Carolina's on the 8th. So, yeah, there's a week off in between there.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, we get, have a couple games to kind of get things together. If we go to Texas A&M and get that, and then, get a bye week worked in there, things like that, man, it could really do things to kind of springboard this, along the way. That would be an amazing win right there. Man, that would be amazing.
Yeah, it would be a season-defining win for sure if it happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I used to be concerned about bye weeks. I think we're going to be a little better coming out of bye weeks now. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I completely agree that I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of downtime on those bye weeks as much as in the past. Rest up a little bit, get healthy if you need to, but the intensity is not going to go away. You know what I mean? It's going to continue. So I think we're in a better spot there for sure.
Let's see. Sama Jamar saying, John, I remember you said on Sunday, Mario thinks they can win it. First season with the right pieces, we can win it. I had on my notes here that Mario seems like with the moves he's making, he's not just, he's building for the future, obviously, but it seems like he's trying to win something now, whether it's the conference, get to a big bowl game, maybe even make a playoff. Who knows? You win the ACC, you're in the running for a playoff spot. Dude's trying to win right now, it seems like. Yeah. And today's college football, you can turn it around that quickly. Let's see, have to smash North Carolina, revenge. Without Sam Howell, I don't know if you've done any research on North Carolina, but without Sam Howell, I don't think they're the same team.
No, I don't think so. And I think that's another one of those games that you kind of have to circle, but especially, from the fans' perspective, we want that one. That one we need the FSU. Those are 2 games we definitely want to get.
Yeah. The general's asking a question, Dave, any word on Caden Green?
Yeah, that's one thing me and the general have in common, man, is these trenches. We both want these fixed so bad. I am probably higher on Caden Green than a lot of people. I absolutely love the dude. I don't feel too good about Miami's chances. I'm just going to be honest with you. I know he's got some visits scheduled and coming up, but I think he probably heads towards SEC land. I don't think he's going to come here. Mario could change my mind, but I've been big on him for several months now. I just don't. I think we're kind of on the outside looking in with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then you got, I think I'm pronouncing his name right, Najee Harris.
Najee Harris. Yeah, I think, yeah, he's going to announce too. I don't see it happening. I hope I can come back on your show and you can say, "Hey, remember when you were wrong?" I'll say, "Yeah, I remember." But I'll make that deal with you, but I don't think it's going to happen. Francis Malagoa, if we're going to talk about offensive lineman, has been my number one guy since his whole recruiting cycle started. That's my guy. He's kind of been hanging around a little bit, so there's a little bit of things there. Peyton Kirkland, I'm not as convinced as everybody else is that he's not going to come here. I think there's a little something there. And then Nathan Afobe, I think is how you say him, Afobe, something like that. Recently just said that he was kind of big on Miami, has had some good conversations, and is kind of could see himself playing here. So that's another option. But unfortunately, I don't think Caden Green will come here.
Okay. Another guy, speaking of O-line, that I've really come to like over the last few weeks, looking more into him, Monroe Freeling.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that dude is massive.
Yeah.
He's another dude that I hope ends up as part of the class.
He's got that frame, man, that you just love. He's got that frame, man. You could see him getting to a college program and getting in the weight room and nutrition and just filling out, and he's just going to be an absolute monster for somebody.
Yeah, Kane, Idaho. John, is this the new evening slot for Cafecito and Canes? This has been the evening slot for a little bit now. I've been doing Tuesdays 7:30, usually 7:30. But for now, this is the evening slot. And you got U-Town. Hey, John, what other linebackers do you think hit the portal now that Austin is out? Man, that's tough to say. I don't like to. That's the thing with the portal. You don't like to throw out a name, and you don't like to start rumors that aren't there.
Yeah.
We can give a number, like how many more linebackers hit the portal. I think at least 2 more.
Yeah.
Possibly 3 more hit the portal. What do you think?
Agreed. I was going to say 2 to 3, and I'm not going to say anybody's name because I'm not going to say, "Hey, this guy's not," or "I'm here and he's not on good terms," or things like that. But we all know the guys that have been here for the last year or 2 or 3 or whatever. I think you kind of do the math and look at those guys, and I think Charlie Strong completely wants to redo this whole thing, and he was pretty vocal about that a couple weeks ago. So.
Yeah, it's good to see, man. It's like I don't want to say what didn't belong here, but what didn't fit with what Mario wants to do, it's kind of getting filtered out. Again, hope they do well wherever they go, but I'm glad it's just finally getting fixed, man. I'm just so relieved. I wake up some mornings and I'm like, Mario's our coach. Like, I still can't. I'm still like.
Yeah, man, I do it, and I'm around here trying to talk to people, and of course they don't care what I got to say about Miami, but I tell them anyway. And it's like every day I'm just this new stuff and recruiting things going on, and I wish some of these guys that are probably going to head out, I wish they would have came here now, or Mario would have been here a few years ago.
Yeah.
And they could have been in this the whole time. It just, sometimes things just don't work out and they happen for a reason. But like you said, best of luck, and they'll go somewhere else and show out, I hope.
Oh yeah,
it's not against us.
Yeah, don't do it against us. I don't know if you saw. I follow Josh Pate on his 24/7 show.
Mm-hmm.
He had a segment that was also kind of floated around Kane's Twitter, like who's the more hated dynasty, Miami or Alabama. I kind of got a kick out of that one because we remember I was born in the late 80s, but I know the history. I know the whole Sports Illustrated putting that article out, why Miami should drop football.
Mm-hmm.
This is for the younger people. They put out that article, 93, 94. Miami had just won, or 95 around there. Miami had just won 4 national titles in 8 years. And they're talking about us dropping football. Can you imagine them trying to write that about Alabama, saying they get caught doing a few things? They would never do that today.
Dude, that whole I know exactly what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the whole thing, and he was spot on. Like, it's not even called. Like, you can't even compare that Alabama. And he said, people hate Alabama because they just can't. They get their ass kicked by them in football. They can't beat them. That's why they hate them.
Mm-hmm.
They legit hate, and they still hate for Miami. But back then, they had legit hate for them. And I can tell you from a guy who doesn't live there that sees it from the outside, I'm telling you, I wasn't a popular. I'm not popular now, but I sure wasn't back then. But the hate nationwide for Miami, like, they wanted nothing to do with it. And anything they could do to kind of throw shade back then, they did it. And there's no comparison to the hate between Alabama and the Alabama hate. There's still some respect to it, whether people admit it or not. There was no respect. I'm telling you, people just absolutely did not like us back then at all.
People despised us. People wanted to still paint us with they're even in the early 2000s, when I think Butch had done a great job cleaning up the program.
Yeah.
I think we went like 10 years without an arrest at one point.
Yeah.
But people still wanted to paint us with the whole, they're thugs, brush. And, even unfortunately when the whole Sean Taylor thing happened, right away they wanted to jump to the whole, making it about being gang related and stuff like that. You don't believe me? Look up, Pardon the Interruption and all those dumb shows from back then. They jumped right to that conclusion. So there's always been that.
Yeah. Yeah. They didn't try to hide it. Like, it wasn't just like being whispered. Like, it was in the national media. I mean, they were coming on, ESPN and on shows and things like that, and just throwing it out there. And everybody was kind of on that bandwagon back then. So
amazing. You couldn't say any of that stuff today, but they were like,
yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. Like the hate. I mean, we're not saying which is the better dynasty. I'm saying who was hated more.
Yeah.
I think younger people don't realize, if you go back and look at your history, it was incredible how much we were despised. Like, we weren't that team that was supposed to be winning.
I don't know another dynasty out there in sports, to be honest with you, that had that much hatred, like pure hate, like not respect. We just can't win. We're tired of you always winning. We don't like them. They just literally love to see us struggle at any time, and they just ate it up.
The closest thing I can think of is maybe the Oakland Raiders.
See, I'm a Raider fan too, so I get all the hate, man. Just bring it all on.
I'm a Heat fan. I get a little bit of that as well. I think part of it is a Miami thing. I think in general the country just hates Miami. Like, I don't know, we're always that one part of the country that's like 80 degrees when the rest is freezing their ass. So
yeah, and we did a little bit of it, I'll say, because back in those days when we were just killing everybody and so flashy and flamboyant, that's when I fell in love with you. Was all of that, and people just got so sick of it and they just never let it go, and it just kind of stuck. It like multiplied. It just grew, got out of control.
Yeah. Oh no, did we bring some of it on ourselves? Absolutely. But we were trendsetters because, everybody started doing the touchdown dances and all that after that.
But when everybody else did it, it was cool. It was okay.
Right. Exactly.
Right? We started that, man. And trust me, I remind people this on a daily basis in my life. This is an everyday conversation for me.
Dude, having speed in your front seven was a Miami thing. Like, having linebackers that can run with your receivers, that was a Miami thing. Now it's NFL, you got to be able to run a 4.5 to play linebacker.
Yeah.
We set a lot of trends that people aren't aware of.
Yeah, we were doing that years ago.
Exactly. But they love our beaches and women. Exactly. That hate fuel the fire. People, the old made up in themselves. Yeah. But anyway, one of the biggest crime, Cleveland Gary fumble on the 1 yard line. Yeah. Yeah, that was a massive screw job. I mean, the refereeing, I've gone back and watched it, that game from 88. That's, Catholics versus convicts. Again, something you couldn't do today. Just blatant hate towards us. Little racism behind it, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was, if you go back and look at the replay, refereeing was bad that entire game. But the thing that decided it, Cleveland Gary clearly broke the plane of the end zone, and they called it a fumble. He broke the plane. His knee was down.
Yeah.
He placed the ball on the turf in the end zone, and they called it a fumble. It was worse than the Ohio State screw job.
Oh yeah, by far, because there was no question. Like everybody, I mean, there was no question. It was done. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, let's see if there's anything else. John, the worst one was OSU in the national title game. The worst. That had the worst implications, but the worst call, I think, was the Catholics versus Convicts game.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right, we're getting close to that 1 hour mark. I think we're probably going to stop in the next couple minutes, but of course, you and Rasta have your show on Thursday nights, 9 p.m., 9:30?
8:45.
8:45, that's right. And yeah, you guys got your show this week, I'm sure. So I'm sure it's going to be a good one as always. I love the show this past week. I rewatched that one. And so yeah, please everybody go follow their show, Sebastian Lane. If you type in Sebastian Lane in the YouTube, it should pop up. It's on the Miami Flow channel, correct?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yep.
All right. So go find them there. Of course, you got Maxed Out on Tuesdays. And then you got myself, the unofficial member of Team Miami Flow, because I got my own channel. You know, I'm here Tuesday nights. And, you know, I do an occasional one-off here and there on the weekend. I'll probably do something after the spring game, maybe Sunday morning, maybe Saturday night. We'll see. But yes, thank you, Les. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Anything you want to tell the people before we head out?
No, man, I'm all good. Just those of you going to the spring game, enjoy it. Be kind of the first look, you know, in person at some of these new things. And it's kind of this, you know, we talked about spring games. You don't get too excited, but, you know, it's okay for this one. You know, go tailgate and show out and show that support to Mario and the staff and the players and all. They need it. They need to see it. Deserve it for sure.
Yeah. And it could make a difference in recruiting if you guys show up. You never know, because a lot of big-time targets are going to the game.
There's going to be some dudes there. Yeah, there's some guys coming to that game. So, which says something, too. I mean, there's some big-time guys that don't have to show up to that, but they're going to be there. And I think they probably want to see now kind of the fan side of things. You know what I'm saying? It's sold out, so show up and be loud.
Amen, brother. All right, guys. So, as always, it's all about that you. Go support our boys. Go support Canes football, baseball, basketball, all the sports. But we're mainly a football show. So, as always, it's all about that you. David, thanks for coming.